So nature has a purpose, huh? Every beginning, every ending, every moment meticulously crafted by some grand, invisible hand, like someone casually tossing a ball. Oh, but not just any ball. This is a cosmic ball, a ball thrown with the perfect arc, the perfect trajectory. It rises effortlessly, cutting through the air like it was meant to be there, meant to ascend, meant to soar. But here's the kicker, it's going to come down, and not gracefully. Not like some poetic float back to earth. No, it's going to hit the ground with a thud. And you know what's funny? The universe doesn't care. No applause, no mournful sighs, just gravity doing what it does best, pulling everything down. But wait, wasn't it so beautiful going up? Such a perfect, majestic rise. Almost made you forget that it was always destined to fall. Like life, right? You're born, you grow. You reach your peak only to realize you've been on a downward trajectory this whole time. Isn't it fascinating how we romanticize the rising part? How we cling to the idea that the ascent means something grand, and when things inevitably come crashing down, we scramble to find meaning in the fall, as if the beauty of the rise wasn't enough to justify the collapse. But that's nature's way. It gives you the illusion of purpose, of progress, only to remind you that everything ends. Everything. Let's talk about the bubble. Ah, yes, the delicate, shimmering little bubble. You see it, floating peacefully, reflecting the light like it's the most precious thing in the world. You can't help but admire it. Get lost in it. You forget, even for just a second, that it's only a thin film of soap and water. You forget that it's fragile. You forget that it's already dying the moment it forms. But nature didn't forget. Because nature has a purpose, remember? And that purpose is for the bubble to pop, so what's the point? Was it the beauty of its brief existence? Or is the real purpose hidden in the harsh reality that everything beautiful must break, must end, that the bursting is part of the plan? And then there's the candle. The most poetic of all, isn't it? A tiny flame burning through the wax, a symbol of light, warmth, life. It flickers in the darkness like it's fighting, like it wants to live forever, but deep down we know the truth. The candle was never meant to last. It's burning itself out. Every second that it shines is a second closer to its death. Some might say, well, that's just the way it is. The candle fulfills its purpose by burning, sure, if that makes you feel better. But think about it. What if the candle knows that it's melting away? What if it understands on some level that its glorious little light is nothing but a countdown to its own demise, and yet it burns anyway? Because what else can it do? Nature has a purpose for it too. The same way nature has a purpose for us. Here's the thing, we're all candles, we're all bubbles, we're all balls thrown into the air. We rise, we float, we flicker, but gravity is always waiting. The burst is always coming. The flame always dies, but what do? We spend our time searching for meaning, grasping at the idea that there's a grand design behind it all. And maybe there is. But what if the design is as simple as this? Everything begins, everything rises, and everything must stop. What if the real purpose of life isn't in the rising, or the floating, or the burning, but in the fact that it ends? Because that's the thing about nature's purpose. It doesn't care about beauty or grace or meaning. It cares about endings. It cares about stopping points. The ball hits the ground. The bubble pops. The candle melts away. And us, we spend our lives pretending we're different, pretending that the fall isn't inevitable, that we won't burst, that we won't burn out. But nature's purpose is unyielding, and it doesn't care how high you soared. So next time you see a bubble floating in the breeze, or a candle flickering in flames, remember, its purpose is already fulfilled. Not when it rises, not when it shines, but when it stops. Because that's the end game, isn't it? The point isn't how high the ball flies or how bright the flame burns, it's that everything has its time to stop. And that's nature's real plan. The only plan. But if you find that depressing, well, you're not alone. We all want to believe there's more to it, some deeper meaning hiding in the rise, the beauty, the light. But nature doesn't care what we want. Nature throws the ball, and it comes down. Nature creates the bubble, and it pops. Nature lights the candle, and it dies. That's the plan. And you're part of that plan too. So rise as high as you can, shine as brightly as possible, float for as long as you're able. But just know, in the back of your mind, the fall is coming. The burst is inevitable. The light will fade. Because nature has a purpose for everything, including you.